Okay, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. I want to say thank you for electing to watch this video here today. I just want to go ahead and just break down what this is today. And this is going to be me talking about the Trek 1 to 4, okay? 1 to 4 residential contract. Okay, this is what I use to wholesale all of my deals, okay? So I don't use a one-page document. So someone reached out to me about, kind of going through step by step what it would look like, with the Trek document. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go play by play, line by line, and page by page so that you can know what it looks like to wholesale using the Trek contract. Okay, so as you know, the Trek contract is 11 pages. Some of these pages you're not even going to have to worry about. Some of them you are. Okay, and some of the clauses in the contract you're not even going to have to worry about. Even though they're there for you to highlight and X out or whatever the case may be, you're not even going to have to even worry about it because it won't even apply to the wholesale transaction. So when you're talking to those sellers, you'll let them know, hey, look, I know that this contract has many pages, and some of these terms and some of these things they won't even apply to what we negotiate. But if we needed to talk about those things, and if we needed to add those into the contract, the state of Texas has already had that in the contract for us. So if we don't highlight it or put a checkbox in it, it's not activated in the contract. That's the terminology that I use. So let's say, for instance, right here, loan assumption, which we're not going to do. I could highlight it, right? But I can also click on it and take it off. And I'll let the seller know, even though that is there, if I don't highlight it or check it or exit or put an X on it, then it will not be activated and it doesn't apply to what we're talking about. Okay. So to start off, let's say, for instance, we're over here on prop stream. Okay. So we're going to go to prop stream. Let's just say, for instance, we're just going to go to Houston, Texas. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to go pull a lead, okay? And I'm going to, I want to sound ignorant here. Okay, let's just go to Houston, Texas, right? And let's just hop on a random property right here, okay? So we want to make sure this property has like a lot. This one does not have a lot number and stuff like that. I want to kind of get to like an actual house, so that it can kind of seem a little bit more realistic when we're talking about lots and blocks. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So here we go. We have this property here in Houston, Texas. It's 9410 High Meadow Drive in Houston, Texas. Okay, so we're going to use this address as a subject property on how we're going to do the Trek contract. So right now the seller's name is Kevin Wayne Mears. Okay, so we're going to come over here to our Trek contract and we're going to put the party as the seller is going to be Kevin Wayne, M-E-R, Mears. Okay, we're going to double check that to make sure. Kevin Wayne Mears. Okay, awesome. And then we're going to come over here. We're going to put, either your first or your last name. This is you. Okay, first and last name. Okay, that's what you're going to put in there. And then you would do and / or assigned. Okay. Now, if you have an LLC, it'll be whatever home, buyers, Texas, LLC, and or assigned. Okay? Now, if you have an LLC, you're not going to put your first and last name here. This is just applying to two types of people, either a person that has a first that's wholesaling under their name or a person that's wholesaling under their LLC. These are examples, okay? Never will you have both of these here at the same time. But when you're wholesaling, you have to have and or assign, okay? So if you have an LLC, you put your LLC here and then and or assign. If you don't have an LLC and you're doing what you're doing and you're doing everything under your first and last name, which is okay, you'll put first name, last name, and then and or assign, okay? Now, we're going to come down here to property. We're going to go to lot, block, and all this information that's here, right? Okay. So we're going to come over here. We're going to see that the lot is 29 and then the block is 4. Okay. Lot 29, block 4. And right here is where you add the legal description. Okay. So the legal description is right here. Okay. Bam. That's that. And we're going to come over here and copy and paste that. It's going to look a little funky when you do it. So you just kind of like click over here and get the cursor out of there, then go back and click in it. It is going to correct itself. Okay. And then in the city of, we know this is going to be in Houston, Texas, I believe. Okay. And then if you want to know the county, just go over to the tax information, and it'll have the county right there. So it's in Houston, Texas, and it's in Harris. It's in Harris County, okay? In the county of Harris, okay? And it's saying in Texas known as address and zip, okay? I typically just go ahead and just put the whole address here. Now, be careful when you do this. Don't highlight here and go down and just have all this stuff going, because when you copy it, it'll just have all this blank stuff. So I like to highlight my addresses from the zip code, then going forward, okay? I don't like to highlight backwards because for some reason, it'll end up taking all of this stuff and pasting it into the contract, and it takes forever to get out. So I just like to just come right here, take my time with it, and do it the right way the one time, and come from the back, and then be very slow and get that last number, then copy it, bam, okay? And then I come over here, and then I just paste the address in, boop, and there it is, okay? Now, when you're filling out these contracts, you want to make sure that you are saving and conserving as much time as possible, okay? So I'm a step ahead of the game because I know what's going to come next, but while I'm already in the paste mode for the address, in the Trec contract, that address has to be at the top of every page. So right now I'm still in paste mode, so watch how I kill time here. Contract concerning property address, bam. I'm going to click out of it, then click back on it, and then bam, okay? So you guys see what I'm doing right now? Even though I haven't gotten to these other pages, I know I'm going to have this address in here at the top of each one of those pages, okay? And then paste, okay? Bam. So this is how I'm working through the contract to kind of like work fast with speed, so that I'm not trying to do this one by one when it's time to go. When I first paste the address on the first page of the contract, I'm just going to stay under that paste or that copy mode, whatever it is, and then bam, that's that, okay? So check that out. So you see what I'm doing here? Bam, that's that. Bam, that's that. See what I'm doing here, guys? I'm nowhere near those pages, but I know I gotta have this. I gotta have that address at the top of those pages because it's just a part of the contract. So you see what I just did there? I wouldn't paste the addresses at the top of all the pages because I've already have the address from the first page. Now I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna talk about purchase price. Okay? None of this stuff we have to worry about. If I don't highlight it, don't worry about it. Don't try to find a reason for this contract to have a default. Trust me, everything's going to be just fine. So say, for instance, we offer this person $80,000. We're going to put in 80 grand right here. Okay? We're going to come down here and put in 80 grand right here. Okay? Bam. All right? Now, my initials are SEL, and then the seller's initials is going to be Kevin Wayne Meir, so that's KWM. Okay? So that's going to be KWM. So while I'm already in this mode, I'm gonna go ahead and do this for every one of the pages, because when it comes down to the Trec contract, every page has to have the address on it, and every page has to be initialed. But you can type in the initial. I haven't had any issues at all. You may run into a title company that wants the actual seller to initial themselves. I mean, if that's the case, fine. But with me, I have never run into those issues. You can just type in the initials. From what I've experienced and been through with title companies, they don't mind you actually typing in the actual initials for the seller, as well as just for yourself. So yeah. So as you see right now, I'm literally filling out this contract with speed, and because I'm talking, I'm actually moving slower. I'll almost already through this contract, and the more you go through it and the more you do it, you're going to get a little bit more comfortable with it. Okay. So don't pressure yourself, okay? So now we're going to go back up to where we were, okay? Now we are right here, okay? So we're on the second page right here, okay? Which is page 2. This is where we're talking about termination and the actual title company, okay? This is very important. This is where you have to really pay close attention, because now you're talking about earnest money and all that stuff. When I have this contract in front of sellers, I don't even let them see this. I show them the offer price, and then I just keep going. And then I get down here and I'm talking about title policy. Because I tell them about title, but I don't like showing them because it's going to have the actual address of the title company, the escrow agent, the address of the title company, and then Earnest money is always tricky in wholesale deals, but you have to have it in the contract. And if a seller sees $10 earnest money, they're going to be like, wait a minute, what? But that's what I typically use. I use $10 for my earnest money, okay? But the way you're going to fill this out is, if you don't have a title company, for sure, you put to be determined. To be determined, okay? So that means that you don't know, but you are going to use this contract at a title company. And any title company is okay with you doing TBD. You do not have to have an official title company on the contract. Me, I have a particular title company I work with, so I always put that title company here. I put, the name of the title company and my escrow agent, her name, and then I put the address of the actual title company here, and then I put the earnest money there. And then I also put 0 here because I'm not going to pay any additional earnest money. No, okay? I'm not going to do that, okay? And then I also put it here. I'm not going to pay any additional earnest money, okay? Now, I have the right. So let me not move too fast here, okay? All right, so let me just stay here in this lane here. So this is the actual option fee. I just put 0 there just because I don't want to be charged if I decide to cancel the contract. Obviously, right? But this is the $10 earnest money. So let's just slow down a little bit here. So this is talking about the title company. Like I said, guys, if you have one, you're going to put it here, the actual name of the title company, and then the escrow agent's name. I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. And then you're going to also put the address, city, and state, and zip. And then the earnest money is going to go right here. And that's going to be $10 earnest money. I've closed on thousands of dollars, $23,000 transactions, $27,000 transactions, $10 earnest money. Okay. Sometimes I've had to do $1,000 earnest money. Sometimes I've done $300 earnest money. Never discuss earnest money in wholesale deals. Never. Never discuss earnest money. But I'm going to give you a gem here. If a seller asks you, well, why can't you put 10% down earnest money if you're buying my house like everyone else does? You tell them because this property is distressed and this property is going to be bought with a fix and flip loan, I have to put down the 10% on the actual hard money loan itself. If I put 10% down with the agreement with you and then put that same 10% down on the hard money loan, I'm putting down 2 earnest monies. I can't do that. So this property needs work, and I'm going to have to put down all that money on the hard money lending to actually buy the property and pay you what you're asking for. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I made myself clear. So I do apologize. I mean, I can increase the earnest money to like maybe $150, $300. I get what you're saying, but I just cannot put a large amount of earnest money down here when I have to turn around and put the earnest money down on my fix and flip loans. Okay, so and especially on this property here. And when we have a bunch of properties we're working on, and we got 5 deals that we're closing on in escrow, if we're putting down 10% earnest money to our hard money lenders and then 10% down to the actual sellers, I have 5 other sellers I have to do that for as well. You're talking about $250,000. Like that, it just doesn't work that way for us. When we're off-market investors, we do not put large earnest money down on purchase contracts. Our large earnest money goes to the actual fix and flip loans, and that's how you negotiate earnest money on wholesale deals. Woo! That was a fire right there I just gave you guys. Okay, cool. So now termination option. Okay, so check this out. This is pretty much a termination clause, right? You can tell someone, give me 14 days or this contract is canceled. I never do that. I always, I always ask them, hey, when do you want to close? Typically, my closings are 45 days out, okay? So I'll just let them know, look, if you read this, for nominal consideration, the receipt of which seller acknowledges and buyer's agreement to pay the option fee within the time required. Seller grants buyer the unrestricted right to terminate this contract by any notice termination to the seller within blank days after the date. So I can cancel the contract within 45 days, but my closing may be within 30 days. So my termination goes past closing. Like that means I can terminate any day, anytime I want to. Some of these people, they don't even pay attention to that in the contract. But if they do, then you got to make sure that you're wording it correctly, okay? But if you really want to make sense, just make sure that you are very clear with the type of seller you're dealing with. Some people are very particular and cautious, so just know who you're dealing with. And then sometimes, people, they're not even really going to be looking at this contract, okay? But you still want to make sure that you're doing good business and that your contract is covering you and you're still protecting the seller as well, okay? Now, we're going to come down here next to you can put 30 here as well. It's however you want to do it. 30, 45 is up to you. But typically people say give me 14 days or you can cancel the contract. That's a way to get someone to come on a contract with you, to let them know that you're not going to be in the deal a long time. Okay, well 14, if you can't close in 14 days, and I know I can move on next. So this is a negotiation tactic here. If you can't get them in 45 days, give them 14 days. That just means that you have to increase your hustle and get this deal closed. Okay, but I have something I want to show you as well that I use, that Byron the investor taught me, and it's huge. Okay, so just give me a second here, guys, and I'm going to pull that up pretty soon. But the title policy, seller shall furnish to buyer at buyer's expense. Okay, which means that the buyer is going to be taking care of the title policy. I'm not going to make my seller pay for the title policy. Like, no, I'm the buyer. I'm going to take care of that. Okay. And I will not be omitted or deleted from the title policy. I will be on it. And we're talking about the buyer and you're the wholesaler as well, okay? This is making sure that you're covering yourself, okay? And we already got the initials there, okay? We're not going to have to worry about any of this stuff here, the surveys, all this stuff. And if it's in an HOA, membership in this property associations, the property is in an HOA or it is not in an HOA, okay? You just have to figure it out. We're going to assume this property is in an HOA. And how you figure that out is you just come over here. Sometimes it'll show it. Sometimes it won't. HOA name, Westmont Civic Club. Bam. Okay? It is in an HOA. All right? So we got that taken care of. All right? So now here we're still going. And you see a lot of this stuff, doesn't even apply to us. It's just jargon. You won't let the seller know. Don't worry about it. What doesn't apply to us, we don't even have to worry about highlighting or activating it. Okay? Stay with me, guys. Here, I know it's a little boring. I know contracts can get boring, but this is if you get this like someone told me, the paperwork makes the paperwork. If you get your paperwork together, that's when you're gonna start making paper. All right. So now this is talking about the seller disclosure statement. Talking about I want to keep a ceiling fan. I want to keep a fridge. I want to keep this and et cetera, right? But they have to give you a notice. You can discuss that with them. I don't even really worry about this because when I'm buying wholesale deals, I'm like, look, whatever's in the house when we close is ours to keep. Okay. If you want to come and get it, let me know. But for the most part, like, you got to have your stuff out before closing. If anything happens after that, like, that's not good. We want you to have everything out unless we're doing a leaseback agreement. Okay. And a leaseback is when you actually close on a property, but you allow the seller to stay in the property a couple of weeks after closing so they can use the funds from the purchase of their home and the sale of their home to find somewhere to relocate. My first deal had a leaseback. The owner didn't have the money to move. He wanted to sell his house. So how does someone move and they don't have money but they want to sell their house? You solve a problem, you create the leaseback agreement. And the leaseback is when you actually let the seller stay in the house after closing. The check comes to him, and then you hold about $3,000 at closing for the deposit on the actual leaseback agreement, which is pretty much a short-term rental is what it is. And then you charge them a daily rate. And once they're out of the house, whatever they get back whatever they didn't use up on the day-by-day charges. And then it gets back to them from the $3,000. It's that simple. Okay. So let's keep going here, guys. And like I said, anything about the seller disclosure here, that's what that all is talking about. Just the seller disclosure stuff. And then Google seller disclosure and see what it is. And you'll look at those the forms and PDF documents, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't use seller disclosure statements. Okay. All right, cool. Let's keep going here. And this is very huge in the Trec contract. You want to highlight this, and you want to really put emphasis on this when you get to this page. I am buying the property as is. You're not going to have to make any repairs to the home, okay? See, and this is why I like the Trec, because the Trec works in the favor of wholesalers. You just got to know what to activate and what not to activate, okay? This is very big because you told the seller you're going to buy the property as is. And when they see this, it just gives them that extra, rested assurance that this person is doing what they say they're going to do, and they activated the box. Okay. And the things that you don't activate, it just kind of, in this moment right here, I just kind of see like the shoulders kind of come down like, okay, good. They are going to buy the property as is. All right. Don't worry about any of this stuff here. Don't worry about any of this stuff here. Closing. Okay. Simple as pie. Okay. It's November 10th right now. We'll do December 25th. Merry Christmas. All right. And then 2021. Bam. That's it, okay? We're going to keep moving, okay? This is what I was talking about earlier, buyer's possession, okay? Upon closing and funding, right? a seller shall deliver to buyer possession of the property upon closing. Meaning, like at closing, we're gonna take possession of the property. Okay. Now there's something in the special provisions that I wanna actually show you guys, and I don't know why I didn't have this already filled out here. So this is the deal that I closed. Oh, those are images. Hold on, guys. Bear with me here. Oh, 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 oh. I'm about to open up my files to you guys. This is dangerous. All right, here we go. All right. Is this one blank or is it filled out? Okay, let's see. All right. All right. I don't even know what deal this is. Okay. I don't even care. Oh, I know what's going on with this right here. Okay, cool. All right. So no, we're not going to use this contract. Oh, I wish I would have had this together. Dang on it. Okay. All right. So here I will put something like, buyer to pay all closing costs. Buyer to pay all closing costs, not including unpaid taxes, liens, unpaid taxes and liens, pretty much. Okay, that's what I put there in mind. Okay, and then the next one I'll put something like buyer has the option to order a survey upon buyer's request. Okay, and then here's something to give you a forever contract. This is line 9, the closing date. Okay, here we go. If title work is not complete by closing date listed on line 9, then closing shall happen within a 60-day period once all title work. Whew, this is fire. Byron the investor gave this to me at an event, and this has worked wonders for me in this Trec contract. Okay, and then also in my Trec contracts, I put buyer has the free right to record a memorandum of contract to secure the integrity. Did I spell that correctly? I hope so. Yeah, I did. Of the purchase of this home. That's even proper English. Who cares, right? So, yeah. Special provisions here. Buyer to pay out closing costs, not including unpaid taxes. And then you can even get over here and like buyer has the option to cancel this contract at any time. Bam. Okay. So I will probably use. You don't have you. It's good to put that you're going to file a memo in the special provisions, but I filed memos without putting it in there. You don't want to make this too much, and to be honest with you, they may not even pay attention to this, but sometimes they do. If it's that seller, like, send me the email, I want to review the contract, I want to look over everything with my data. It's like, okay, well, you gotta pick and choose your fights here. But if someone that's right next to you and they're motivated, they're not even gonna care. But these are the things that I put in my special provision. Sometimes this is in my contracts all the times. Sometimes I kind of like judge a seller like, oh, no, they're not going to like that. I could just tell by the negotiations they're not going to like that. Let me take out the memorandum in the contract. Let me take out buyer has the option to cancel his contract at any given time. So these are just little things here you can use in the special provisions. But always make sure you have this in there, and always make sure for sure you have this one. This one for sure, and this one for sure. Always, well, these three. Always have them in the contract. I don't give a damn. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't spell that correctly. And if I, oh, that's not with then. Woo, Lord have mercy. What is going on with me tonight? Ugh, tired, y'all. Okay. Woo, that's terrible. Okay. Oh my God. I can spell for the record. I'm just typing fast, and I've had a long day today. Okay. So, and obviously, you always make sure you proofread, and this is perfect. I'm glad this is happening right now. Always proofread and check for grammar in your contracts before you send them. Don't get too happy and just type something up and then send it. You know, you can type on it, work on it, get through the pages, but then go back and make sure everything looks good. Okay. So buyer to pay all closing costs, not including unpaid taxes and liens. Buyer has the option to order a survey upon buyer's request. If title work is not complete by closing date listed on line 9, then closing shall happen within a 30-day period once all title work is complete. That is fire. Shout out to buying the investor for that one. That is fire, okay? But these are the three things here. Always make sure they are in the contract, okay? And then also, obviously, the buyer has the free right to record a memorandum of contract to secure the integrity of this purchase of the home. And the buyer has the option to cancel his contract at any given time. All right? So let's move on forward here. And then if there's any special provisions that you and the seller discuss, put it in here, okay? You want to put it in here, okay? Always make sure you do that, all right? Standard procedures here, pretty much. Standard procedures here. There's nothing to fill out. Just documents, right? Just what I say. I call this legal jargon. I just call this standard. I call it standard text and procedure when I'm talking to the seller. When I start getting to these points and some of these parts where I don't have to worry about highlighting it, but it looks like they're looking at it. Oh, that's just Mr. Seller. That's just standard text and procedure there. That's just standard text and procedure. Just legal jargon that needs to be there. We don't have to worry about. But it's just there. If you have any questions about it, let me know. But this is just standard text and procedure, just legal jargon here that the state of Texas wants in their contracts. Just talking about this stuff, but there's nothing for us to fill out, highlight, X out. It's just standard text and procedure, legal jargon. And then here you're going to put your first name and your last name or your LLC. You're going to put your property address, your phone number, and then your email. Then you're going to put the seller's first and last name here, okay? The seller's address, their phone number, and then their email. Okay, and you also want to make sure you highlight this right here for the lead-based paint. Some of those properties get kind of crazy, and you want to make sure that you are protected here. Okay, all right, and you don't have to worry about any of this other stuff. Don't get caught up in all this other stuff at the end of it. Don't get caught up in it. Okay, all you have to do is just get your first and last name here. No, not your first and last name. I'm so sorry about that. What's going to go here is your mailing address, your address, and then the city and state go here. Sorry about that, y'all. So what's going to go here is your address, and then city and state, your phone number and email, and then their address, their city and state, their phone number, and then their email. Okay, that's what goes there. Don't worry about this attorney stuff. If you have an attorney, they have an attorney. That's fine, but I've never ever had to use this. Okay, and then you're going to put the date that you're doing the contract. All right, and then you're going to sign here, and they're going to sign there. Okay, it's that simple. And how do you get to sign? You'll just holler markup, and you'll create a signature, and you'll create it here. All right, you can use your iPhone or whatever the case. Look at me on camera here. You can use your iPhone, whatever the case may be. However it goes, however you want to do it, you can do it that way. I have an Apple computer. You may be able to use you know, your Windows XP. Whatever happens, just you want to create a signature here, and you can do it from your phone. You can Bluetooth sync your phone. I have sellers sign, you know, the contract on my phone. They're sitting there signing on their phone, and you see the signature coming up here, or over here. You see the signature coming up here, and the phone is in there signing because I have it set up on my phone. Okay, all right, and yeah, don't worry about this. This is all title company stuff here. Okay, so I hope this really helps you all. That's the Trec contract. That's how you fill it out. Can you wholesale with the Trec contract? Absolutely. Can you wholesale with the Trec contract? Absolutely. Yes, you can, and you will. So if you have any questions, guys, reach out to me. I'm always here to help. And let's go real estate. And I'll see you on the other side of freedom.